not finishing anywhere, and that's the problem with the sprint race, isn't it? The race today. Right, so that's Williams done. Let's just round out Mercedes, and then we'll take it. But George Russell secured P4, even though he was retaken from James Allison swap. James Allison rather amusingly described a sort of different hand on the tiller. Really, this is no comment on Mike Elliott, really. And now they've got James Allison back in that position. James Allison, by the way, did miss. Did he actually hit?
That's fine.
All right, sorry about that. Be a bit more. So that was the interesting thing about that. And a nice story I said to do, and Nyck had his best face warmer and pulled his hood over and said that he was the only note, might have been a bit of a pointer, but I thought it was cute the way, and then it was a lovely surprise when he is in charge of a team who have been up against tomorrow. Okay, everything all right with spares and all right? Everyone chilled out now?
Yeah, a race and more opportunities.
Okay, go and get that cup of cha. All right, onto the soft. That tyre went south, and then he had to make another pit stop. 19th in SQ1. To get end. So that is going to make a very interesting episode when it is competing in the first F1 Academy series, Bia Bustamante, and all the some of the female drivers you may have known, and finished 10th. So it went really south for Lando, because that there wasn't, and had they had a red flag, had they started on the soft, Piastri ran P10 and couldn't get Albon. It's not what McLaren wanted today. Alfa Romeo Sauber, Valtteri Bottas, Pierre Gasly, raced Hulkenberg, got past as Hulkenberg dropped down himself. Here we are. Here is Valtteri Bottas. I get the feeling is not as happy as Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah, I was obviously quite a good race. Both guys, I think Valtteri and Norris, they really struggled.
Mind trouble. He got P6. Actually got past Alex Albon, chased Lewis Hamilton, finished 1.9 seconds behind Lewis. DRS problem was fixed, which is 7th today. There is pace in that Haas, but not with Hulkenberg. Hulk's medium tyre, Hulkenberg, having qualified 14th, made it up to, having qualified 12th at all. And if we've done Williams, then that means that the only race team was a DNF, qualified 18th, but then absolutely gutted. He dropped the, and then it was eventually had to retire. Nyck de Vries was the characterful Austrian boss here at AlphaTauri. Was it something as the new management decided that he's enjoying his race? And Franz is such a great character. I'll be sad. Join us for the race tomorrow. We are on air at 10 with that main course, and we've ordered another main course, a massive main course to have on Sunday. And then all the team and the hotels and everybody around here, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wonderful to have you all with us for this very special weekend. Perhaps it is particularly a
win for Graham Hill was that year here at Goodwood in the Glover Trophy, then in the World Championship,
which had been a team fighting for success for a long time since post-war. It took,
but as we know, they continued until the mid-1970s. But the car title 68, the red car on the inside.
In fact, some of the older Formula One cars further back, he started out in front-engine Formula One. He ended up in the early 1970s when they went to wings and slicks.
Inexperienced, but sadly too much experience of retiring from races rather than seeing the checkered flag, much more prescriptive in Formula One.
And there we are, we're looking at the cars was his thing as well, but rallying wasn't a big deal, but it's amazing that he actually did
in the early 60s and the late 50s, there were only about 10 Grand Prix in a season, plenty of time. Escort twin cabs and the exquisite Ferrari GTO down there. Second of his 2 wins here in the Tourist Trophy, and it's a very, very hard meeting, all in the search of glory, but also the winner's check.
And his career involved in motor.
Graham had worked out he was good enough to win races, but he needed a car that saw the finish. But you're talking Neil Ewart's book. We've had them on our bookcases, and with good reason. He was the character we wanted.
Graham Hill to him was the embodiment of all the best that is implied by the word fun.
Notably the Springfield Boys Club up in North London, and there would have been a purpose. And then, of course, with that inimitable character, the humour, that would have really, really...
He would sit at a table, watch the people around him. He wouldn't drink anything. Body the crowd of people who were there. They loved his speeches.
He was such a... And it really just does encompass how many cars he might race on. It's a huge guy.
And the amazing thing, which we've already talked about, and of course, we're looking here into the Graham Hill, the first Graham Hill car. Sadly, of course, that then didn't. His time throughout the sport was so involved to events in a wheelchair to make sure that he still went to those events. And it was...
And again, you know, what do you not want to do when you're not physically good? A 24-hour race, 75, he just realised that he didn't have the pace anymore. Better to run the team, but also...
When they died together in the crash. To have driven some of these most remarkably to be held here at Goodwood, and he won that as well. So the history of him for Goodwood, I learned looking back, you know, when he married Betty, they had a honeymoon weekend and a honeymoon at Bognor Regis, just in case they want me at Goodwood.
Birthday present I've ever had, I think, so thank you very much to Duke Richmond. And
windy weather on this circuit by the sea. Clark, Graham Hill now leads. And Gurney, call. Colin Chapman, Angst going again at the back of the field. Well, we are keeping track of Graham Hill, still happy with for the last time. Another victory for BRM at Zandvoort. Additions with very limited visibility. Dan Gurney and John Surtees on the left. Jim Clark has taken Gurney, but Graham Hill dare not let up at all. The limit all the way. With 28 points against 21 of Jim Clark, and Rubery Owen, a tightly knit Owen organisation team under Tony Rudd, as Lotus and Cooper have trouble. And the Italian and Richie Ginter second. The championship is very much in our... Jim Clark has made the better getaway. Graham using perhaps a bit too much. It's Clark, Hill and Maggs. Both the Lotus and the BRM are being driven meticulously, but Graham does not let up. He is using his well-known stick of the... spins his Porsche at the hairpin. In the second works Lotus slows to a crawl. Salvadori in trouble, having a chance. Sterling Moss and Cyril Atkins watch as Jim Clark pass on previous occasions, and this is motor racing. And now the checkered flag. And Sir Alfred Owen, the chairman of the organisation,